Whoa. Before we even get to today's episode, I know it's Craig. You never see me on the show. I never wouldn't come onto the show unless I needed to talk to you, our adoring public. Hey, look, listen. I looked at the numbers recently. I looked at them. Over 90% of the people who watch this channel are not subscribed. Look at this graph. Look at it right here. Look at it. The numbers don't lie. So why don't you do yourself a favor? Make sure you're able to see every single time we put out a new episode. Hit that subscribe and notification bell, and you'll be notified every single time that we put out a new episode. All right, here's today's show.
Welcome into Missing the Point, everyone. Real BK Bob Kelly here with DK Sizzle. We're going to give you everyone a nice little preview into our degenerate lives. It's the NFL betting extravaganza here on Missing the Point. We're going to go over all things betting for the NFL season. MVP awards, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year. We're going to go into some of the divisions, some long shots, some favorites we think could be chumps, could be, pretenders. Who knows? We'll get into some good stuff here. How you doing tonight, TK?
Doing great. I can't wait to figure out. I know how I'm going to lose my money, but like specifically how I'm going to lose my money. Specifically the odds that I'm going to chase.
This is the best time of the year, because like everyone's got a chance and there's no real bad bet at this point. You're either betting tossing a couple bucks on what could happen or,
plus 8,000 on the Seahawks to win the NFC.
See what I mean? That's what I'm saying, man. Like there's some outrageous ones that it could easily make a case for. I mean, maybe not the Seahawks plus 8,000, but plus 8,000 is plus 8,000, man. Yeah. So we'll just jump right into it. We'll start big and we'll work back that way, I guess. Or do you want to start small, work big? What do you think?
I'm always ready to start big.
All right. So you know what? We'll just jump right into AFC Championship and NFC Championship odds.
Cool.
So AFC, if you look down this list here, obviously the Bills and the Chiefs up at the top stick out, plus 300, plus 500. But as you work down this list, man, I'm intrigued at what you think here. I'm looking at a couple of teams in like that plus 900 to plus 1,100 range. I hate to say it, but again, we talked about this last betting show we did. I don't know if you remember this, where we actually named out the Bengals for our public here.
Yeah.
For them to ride in the playoffs. Neither of us placed a bet, and they ended up going all the way to the Super Bowl. What do you think of them at plus 900, man?
I mean, to me, it's less the Bengals at plus 900 and more the Bengals at plus 900 and the Bills at plus 300. Like, I think that, the team to come out of the AFC last year, and I think with a glaring reason and an easy reason why they lost the championship game, being able to sort of identify, it seems like the Bengals organization has identified it somewhat. Are they that much worse than the Bills? Are they 600 worse than the Bills? I don't think so. I think, look, I mean, between me and you, and we've said this on shows, do I think the Bills are the guys that are going to be the champions of the AFC? Yeah, I do. But you got to play the odds. You're not playing the team. You're playing the odds, right? You're playing the bets. And for the purposes of this, plus 900 for the Cincinnati Bengals is a smart bet. I mean, it's good value. It's a team that's going to do well. So you're going to be in the running, at least, I would think, until, week 14, 15, 16, 17, at least until then. If not, it coming down to the wire. And if you look at some of the value on the teams in between, the Broncos at 850, no. Like, I need double. I need six-figure numbers on that. 850 is not enough. So the fact that they think that, the Russell Wilson bump is going to take the Denver Broncos into more likely than the AFC champions to be AFC champions this year, I mean, I don't think so.
Yeah.
The Los Angeles Chargers, I'm high on Herbert this year. I'm here for him at 350, or sorry, in year 3 at 750. But again, I mean, they're more of a long shot than that. I need more numbers than that. But we're sitting pretty right on that list. Cincinnati Bengals plus 900, easy. Yeah. I'm taking that, and especially since, like you said, we fucking called it last season and then didn't put our money up. So
that'll haunt me forever. Every time I watch that Bengals run from last year, I'm like, God damn it, we should have fucking.
They were away from that.
They were like plus 1,100 going into the playoffs to win the AFC Championship, right?
100%, yeah. Those are good numbers, and we said it to each other, and then we both got lazy and didn't place the bet.
Do it.
We could have had a nice steak dinner on that. But,
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, dude. The Chargers and the Broncos to me being that high in the
Wild.
AFC,
Yeah.
it just that really jumps out to me as like don't bet this. Like if you're gonna
Yeah.
do that, that's it's just not enough value for a team that the Chargers, both those teams didn't make the playoffs last year. And you're gonna put them third and fourth?
That screams of volume odds changes. That makes me think that like maybe if we had looked at this 3 or 4 weeks ago, the Broncos would have been 1,100. I don't think Vegas is stupid enough to line out the odds on the Denver Broncos at lower than the Cincinnati Bengals. But if they get a lot of bets on the Denver Broncos, they're forced to, right? Because they don't want to like do these huge payouts that cripple their fucking little nefarious bookie market. So that to me smacks of Broncos Nation thinks they're gonna let's ride, and a lot of bets came in on the Russell Wilson assance up in Denver. But the air is thin up there, and that's not good for cognitive reasoning. So fuck your plus 850 Denver. Sorry guys. I don't think you're gonna be bad, but I mean look at their division. Their division's insane. Like to come out of the AFC, forget coming out of the AFC. I'd love to see them come out of that division. Because I said on record in the last show, I think they're going to be fourth in that division. So, we'll see, I guess.
3 out of the 4 top odds. I know we keep preaching on this on all these preseason shows. That division really is absurd. 3 out of the top 4 in the AFC are in the AFC West.
A good transition.
Chargers, Broncos.
A good transition, honestly, into. I'm not saying it's smart money, but it's a good price on the Raiders plus 1,800.
Bro, couldn't agree more.
100. Like that's a good price on them. I know their division's tough. I know they're dealing with the with the likes of the Chiefs and an obviously very packed schedule. But come on, plus 1,800. Yeah, I could see those. I could see those odds going forever in your favor if you put a few bucks on that. If, for example, they're level with the Titans. Like, but the Raiders being plus 1,800 and the Titans both being plus 1,800 doesn't make any sense because one's a smarter bet. And it's definitely the Raiders. The Titans aren't going to do anything. They're losing players left and right. I think they have a good coach, but what happens when Derrick Henry has to have an even higher workload this season, which we all know is going to be the case because the offensive weapons have gone down, and he hasn't really made it through a whole season with any kind of impact in the offseason available to him because he's so banged up. So because of the way he runs, which stating the obvious, but plus 1,800, that's a different value bet when you bet on the Raiders as opposed to the Titans.
Yeah, no, that's crazy to me that they're that low on here. You look at a team like I don't know when these were updated because the Browns plus 1,600, that doesn't make sense. They have to be lower than that at this point, right? Yeah, they got to be. He's coming back week 11. So I guess that's really what you're banking on is that if you're putting money on the Browns, first of all, you're banking on a guy who hasn't played all season coming back week 11 and actually making a difference, and also them staying afloat during that first 11 game stretch. Which I know the North isn't great, but I don't know. This seems like a long stretch to me.
Their division is weak, and I will say, like, as much as he's a piece of shit, and I'm not here to endorse like this dude is a human. I think there's been a little bit, if we're just talking just footballing ability, there's been a little bit of a short memory about how good he actually is, because it's very so
he's very good.
Yeah. He could come back week 11 and win them 6 games. It's possible. And if they're in kind of a half and half situation, look, we're talking pretty high odds here. I know it looks comparable sat next to, the plus 1,800s of the Raiders or the plus 2,200s of the Patriots. It looks decent, but it's still pretty high odds. If you're going to put a plus 1,600 bet down, I haven't won many of those in my life. I'll say that. So,
true.
I don't think the Vegas is going like, I don't know, they might do it. I think they're going like, it's a long shot, but he does come back week 11. So I don't know. Plus 1,600 makes somewhat sense to me.
I do want to dive in here because this is a Boston centric podcast. The Dolphins and the Patriots both being 22-1, man. That I don't know. I don't know about that. First of all, they're both in the bottom 6 of the AFC, which jumps out to me. And I just don't. I don't think I would risk my money on either of those teams, even at 22-1. You know what I mean? I feel like that's just they don't have a chance in that stacked AFC here.
So, a good theme for these shows, if we're going to give out any advice, and the thing that if I've ever done well in my betting career, you got to spot the stayaways. And you got to spot that, don't bet just to bet is the number one rule in this household. And spotting the stayaways means it could be great, it could be terrible. And plus 2,200, yeah, maybe it's long odds and maybe you get paid back, but you're basically giving your money away. The idea is you don't know what the Patriots are going to look like. You really don't know. Like, anyone who tells you what they're really going to look like, anyone who tells you they're sure of their record next season is lying to you. And the Dolphins, to me, are the biggest red flag stay away of the entire NFL right now, because, again, 7-game streak of losing, 7-game streak of winning, a bunch of drama in the offseason with their clearly talented head coach, a bunch of weird shit with the front office that I really don't trust them down there. And like, this cake that you're making of stay away cake, the cherry on the icing of the top of the cake is the fact that their quarterback is maybe the most talked about bad quarterback of the last 10 years. And he's bad. He's not good. He's not going to win you the AFC if you get, so you're handing your money off. I know it's fun sometimes to like pop in $5 on your favorites betting app and see what plus 2,200 to give to you. But I mean, it's not, you're not getting the $5 back. And if you live your whole life with it's only $5, you're going to end up in a lot of debt after a while. That shit adds up. So stay away from those bets. I agree with you.
That's such a, so that's, I want to relate this kind of to fantasy too. If you're thinking fantasy, you're spending a high first round draft pick on someone, you're doing it because of the known, because what you know to be true, and the guarantees of taking someone, like, right, exactly.
Yeah.
When you're doing a late round flyer, you're doing it because the upside, they don't have too much, guaranteed in the tank, but at least there's
value. It's a value.
Right.
It's a value-based system. Yeah.
Either of these teams, neither the upside outweighs that unknown. You know what I mean?
It's way higher, both of them.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I don't know if there's much else to talk about.
There's one thing I'd love to talk
about.
Go
ahead. Go ahead.
There's a great price on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I knew you were going to do it. I knew it.
a plus 4,000 on the Pittsburgh Steelers is, I feel like, perfectly fine. I feel like they're way undervalued at plus 4,000. Do I think, again, you got to think about this logically. Do I think the Steelers are going to win the AFC? No. But at plus 4,000, if you're giving me those kind of odds, fuck, man. Like, why not? Why not? Take a fucking flyer for $1 on the Pittsburgh Steelers winning the AFC next season. I mean, that's something, I mean, it'll be a lot, but I think the Mitch response is real. I think Mike Tomlin, like we discussed on the previous prediction show, has never, ever come in under 500. I think that the worst thing about the Pittsburgh Steelers last season was their quarterback. The thing that they clearly, glaringly needed to fix the most was their quarterback. I think they're a fucking highlight weapon factory on offense over there. I think they probably have guys we haven't even like really done any research on that are going to have breakout seasons like every season in Pittsburgh. And I think Najee Harris is going to be a top 5 running back this year. And I think that all of your fantasy drafts are going to reflect that. So why not take a punt on the Pittsburgh Steelers? They got a good fan base. They got a good home, the home field advantage. And they don't have that bad of a schedule this season. And I think they've improved a quarterback. I mean, I know anytime you have a quarterback committee in the preseason, it's a bad sign. It's a red flag, because usually you're having 3 mediocre guys go against each other, or 2 mediocre guys go against each other. But that's not the case. They have Mitch Trubisky, the most talented man in the world. So when he wins MVP and the Pittsburgh Steelers win the AFC next season, we'll see how it goes.
I wonder what his odds. We'll get there. We'll get there
to MVP. That might be a good bet. If it's at plus 4,000, I'm fucking taking it.
Yeah, honestly, bro, like, I know Steelers has been a bit of a tiff on this show over the years, but my biggest problem always was, and this, is their quarterback play. So yeah. I kind of agree with you. I think Big Ben.
We got to see it. We got to see what it looks like.
Agreed, but Big Ben was a chump these last 2 years, man. There was so
5 years.
Yeah, there's just throws that he was missing that normal NFL quarterbacks can't miss. And if you're going to win,
noodle, dude.
Yeah, it was bad. So I don't disagree. Plus, I mean, 400 to 1, man. You can't you can't hate on it. You know what? That's 400 to 1, right? Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Just knock a 0 off. That's the usual way to convert the American odds.
Yeah. I got a shout out. Texans at 1,500 to 1 is kind of hilarious. Like
15,000. Or plus
15,000.
15,000, 1,500 to 1. Yeah.
Yeah, 1,500. Yeah.
I saw a meme the other day that was like, Lovie Smith got fired from Chicago, went to Illinois, posted a losing record at Illinois, came back, led the Texans defense to 27th overall in the NFL to 31st overall in the NFL, and now he's their head coach. I mean, I love Lovie. You know, I got a long history with him. He led the Bears to the Super Bowl. I always loved how calm he looked. We used to joke, like, when it would cut to Lovie Smith, I would do like a little voice where I'd be like, "What? What's everybody doing? What's going on?" It would like the camera be focused on. He's like, "Oh shit, we're at a football game." That's like always the look he had on his face. But I always liked him. I thought he was a lovable, good defensive mind. But whew, it is a fucking dumpster fire down there in Houston.
It really is,
I don't think I've ever seen a franchise. I mean, maybe those 0-16 Dolphins. I don't think I've ever seen a fucking franchise in worse shape than the Houston Texans right now. They might need to start thinking about relocating again. I know they're the newest team, right? They're still the newest team, right? What
Yeah,
were
yeah.
when they came in?
Yeah, they beat the Cowboys their first game ever.
Right? Oh, really? Yeah, but
Bad
they
memory.
weren't good for years and years and years. They got good. They fell off at the most rapid pace I've ever seen in that fucking franchise. Like, they might want to think about going to I don't know, being in a second San Francisco team or something. It doesn't work. It
It's
doesn't
like
work in Houston.
That first round quarterback that just needs to go find somewhere else. It's just Houston needs to go find a new city at this point.
It's bad, man. They're cursed. I don't know what's going on down there.
So what do you think? We go AFC divisions, or you want to head over to the NFC? What do you think?
Let's do the NFC because I want to talk about how I really like your Cowboys at plus 800.
Yeah, I was thinking that actually. So
Honestly,
we'll just list off the first couple. So we got Bucks plus 325, obvious favorites. Actually, that's not obvious. That's surprising.
I think that's a wild level of odds. I don't think they're going to be as good as people think.
Rams plus 450, Packers plus 500, Niners plus 700. My boys at plus 800. Couple other notables: Eagles plus 1100. That's really it. I mean, Cardinals 14.
Cardinals 1,400, not a bad point.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not bad.
honestly.
Other than that, man, I mean, there's a lot more. Everyone's closer together than in the AFC. That's for sure. I don't think there's that defined line where you're like,
Well, the
oh,
NFC just aren't as good, are they?
Yeah,
There's not as many good teams. With the stacked division in the AFC we just talked about, like, we don't have anything like that in the NFC. I think a lot of these divisions got worse. Notably, my Bears in the NFC North, I think that whole division got markedly worse. Looking at the Green Bay Packers at plus 500, like, I feel like there's years where you could almost lock up the Green Bay Packers winning the NFC, and maybe they go and fail in the playoffs or whatever, but there's years where it's like, it's always a good value bet to say that the Packers are going to have the best record in the AFC. Like, it's always a good value bet sometimes, but I don't know. Like, now plus 500, no weapons. Aaron Rodgers prefers to do ayahuasca than watch game tape. Like, he's doing fucking podcasts and he looks skinnier than he should. And I don't know. I don't try. I mean, I know I say this every year. I'm just, it's wishful thinking, but I'm not putting $500 in the Green Bay Packers. And quite frankly, plus 700 on the 49ers is also pretty low. I would need higher up
with the unknowns at quarterback with them, man.
But I mean, they fucking signed Jimmy G to another year. It's like, good God, man. It's like your boyfriend you can't break up with. I feel like Joe Malkin, our podcast, one of our 6 podcasters, is secretly the GM of the San Francisco 49ers because he has a full fucking man crush on Jimmy Garoppolo. And apparently so does the fucking GM of the 49ers, because what is he still doing there?
It's just, it's blasphemous that you would spend all this draft capital on a quarterback, hand him the keys to your team.
2 years ago, though, like 2 years ago.
But they actually in the preseason said, this is Trey Lance's team. And then secretly, not even secretly, publicly be like, but also we're giving Jimmy a key too, just in case you fuck up.
Jimmy fucking rolls in his wheelchair, rolls in his fucking wheelchair, and he's like, I'm still here, fuckers.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
I like those Cowboys at plus 800, though. Honestly, I really do. I think that's just speaks to me. Something jumps out at me, that plus 800. Like, I know the history. I know the things. I don't know if I want to hitch my wagon to it, seeing the pain that you go through, but man, plus 800 for the Cowboys with the talent that they have on paper. If you're like taking away context, if you're taking away the stuff that like usually makes you kind of run away from the Cowboys, it's put up or shut up year for Dak. It's full on put up or shut up year for Dak. Who is Dak is the question this year. Is there downside stuff at running back? Yeah. Is that committee a little messed up? Yeah. But like if they're just a little ballsy about it and they just make Zeke RB2 right off the fucking bat and they just say like, this is what we're doing. I'm sorry that his contract is more than it should be. I mean, like, the Steelers told us year after year not to pay running backs like this. And now we're reaping the fucking rewards of him being on a really bloated contract. But also, the way that your front office got a little sort of bamboozled by taking Dak and Zeke as a package deal was sort of obviously not a good idea. They should have divided and conquered on that. But all that being said, I mean, you can't tank because of your running back performance, but you can tank because of your quarterback performance. So again, we got to see, but I like Dak. I think he's a good quarterback. I've seen him play really well. If he could just leave a little bit of the mental midgetry aside, I think Cowboys at plus 800. That's not bad. That's not bad. I'd take a $50 punt on that.
Like if I separate myself from my emotion,
I think they're going to be the number one defense this year. And you said that, and you got blasphemed out of the fucking prediction show, but I don't understand why not. I think they're going to. I think they were the best defense last year. So I don't.
Another year under Quinn, man, it can't get worse. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it can definitely get worse. It can always get worse in Dallas.
It shouldn't get worse. Yeah, I don't know
but it shouldn't. You're right. It shouldn't. It shouldn't. And I also think Trey Diggs. Like, I think a lot of the stuff that happened to him downside wise in the second half of the season, I think that was all youthful mistakes. I think if he went into the off season and he decides, yes, I can still be a ball hawk, but I don't need to overcommit on the cover two. I don't need to like fucking, completely blow my coverage because I think I'm going to get to every ball, and just be a little bit smarter. I think that his upside numbers could look way better this season, and he could become a real professional. I think it was raw, and now I think it's time to it's time for everyone in Dallas to be, they're such an interesting case. I really do like talking about them, but it's time for everybody in Dallas to just be a little bit of a fucking grown up, a little bit more of a fucking grown up. And I think the Mike McCarthy thing aside, fucking Mike,
it's a big boy to put aside, man.
It does suck. As it came out of my mouth, I was like, but no, I like it at plus 800. I think that especially with how, if you look down the list, if you take listeners at home, if you take your list of odds makers, wherever you place your bets, and you look at the NFC, I think Vegas is telling you it's anybody's fucking game.
That's exactly what they're saying.
It's anybody's division. I think the smartest money you could probably lay out is on the Rams again, if I'm being quite honest with you. I think that the Buccaneers are looking a little strange. I think that there's some weird stuff over there, and them at plus 325. That means to me that odds makers are saying that if the Buccaneers are plus 325 to win the NFC Championship and the Buffalo Bills are plus 300 to win the AFC Championship, that's them telling me that they do not think the NFC is as competitive. Because if those odds are even close to similar, no one's going to look me in the eye and tell me with a straight face that the Buffalo Bills are not a lot better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's just no one's going to be able to do that on paper, at least. So the quarterback's 90. I mean, I know it's Tom Brady, but like, come on, 325. You need to up that if I'm putting money on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win the AFC. I don't see it.
I agree with the Rams, man. I'm looking at other odds across sites too, and they're as low as plus 550, with the Packers ahead of them. Which to me, I don't know. I know the Stafford elbow thing is weird, but like, how can you take a team that won the Super Bowl last year and looked really good doing it, and the quarterback issues or the questions on Stafford winning big games, that's now out the window to me. Like, we saw what he can do on a big stage. Yes, Tampa Bay pulled the worst coverage I've ever seen in a 2-minute situation.
They were handed a game. The Chiefs didn't look themselves. I mean, there was a lot had to go right for them.
Put the Packers ahead of them? That's crazy.
No, God,
that's crazy. No, but even the Bucks, like, I would feel more comfortable betting the Bucks and the Packers at plus 500, and more comfortable betting the Rams at plus 325. You know what I mean? If the Rams are plus 325, I still be like, okay, that's worth, something, maybe a parlay bet here or something like that to, increase it a little bit, but like, it would be at least worth something. The Bucks and the Packers under plus 500 to me make no sense. That it's crazy.
No, I agree with you. I think there's a cut. I would stay away from the NFC. To be totally honest with you, I wouldn't put any fucking money near anybody winning the fucking NFC. I really wouldn't. I think it's too weird. I think there's too many variables. I think if you're gonna play, you can play a couple long shots in the AFC, and then who you definitely think is gonna win the AFC, and then I would move on from there, and make some prop bets on some more specific circumstances. But if you're betting on big kind of wide who's going to do what because of the odds, which is tempting, I get it, because you're going to get higher odds on bets like this because a lot more can go wrong. I would steer clear of the NFC if it were me.
So not even like the Vikings or the Saints at plus 16 or plus 18 jump out at you?
No, because like those are two teams you just can't trust.
Yeah.
Like again,
same case we just made in the first.
Yeah, like I'm not giving Jameis Winston my money and expecting him to come back with more money. That's just not. I don't see it happening. And I'm never ever letting Kirk Cousins anywhere near my finances. There's just no fucking way. So, no, absolutely not. That's just me though. I mean, that's just how I feel about it.
Bears at the same odds as the Steelers plus 4,000.
That's great. Both my AFC, my NFC team are at plus 4,000. We'll see how that goes.
Parlay those together, bro. You got a hell of a bet.
That's actually. I don't hate it. Imagine if the fucking Bears and the Steelers came out of their respective fucking conference.
The world would just end.
Hey, the
podcast would be over.
Here's a weird thing. The Bears are plus 4,000 to win the NFC, which puts them at plus 1,000 less than the Lions. So the Lions are a bigger long shot to win the NFC. However, they think the Lions have better odds of winning the NFC North.
That was weird to me too. Yeah.
How can both things be true, right? So if that's the case, the plus 1,100 for the Bears to win the NFC North, not a terrible bet. I mean, I don't think they're gonna again, but plus 1,100 for a divisional win. You know what I mean? Like it's just between them and three other teams. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think they're gonna, but like plus 1,100 in comparison to the plus 4,000 of them winning the whole NFC, way better value for your money, if you ask me.
So let's transition that right over to the divisional odds then.
Great.
So we'll I just kind of want to touch on a couple parlays that I was looking at, because this is where I like to get crazy, because I'm like, well, this favorite with this underdog, I kind of like, so I think the Bucks to me are such a chalk, minus 275. I think that's good odds on something that's pretty guaranteed, if you ask me. Like I don't,
you gotta marry it with something, like you said, or otherwise you're not getting anything really out of it, right?
So I'm thinking shoot over to the AFC, a little underdog here, one that we already talked about in the AFC odds in the Las Vegas.
Bengals.
I'm thinking the Raiders.
Oh yeah, shit! Look at theirs. Look at
plus 650, bro. Right?
Why are they not rating the Raiders in that division at all compared to the Broncos? I don't get it.
I think it's just the unknown, but I guess it's the same thing with it's the Wilson factor. It's that let's ride. Everyone's ready to jump on that Broncos country. Let's ride.
Maybe they're going to be good. I mean, maybe they'll have a Stafford type, situation happen over there. Like maybe he just needs a little bit of a fresh green pasture to go into, and he'll be renewed. But because like that Seahawks team was just getting worse and worse.
Plus 650 though. I'm just
that's
saying.
good odds. A plus 650 parlay with what'd you say
minus 275? So that would get you to like what 8-1 ish?
Yeah.
8 to 1.
That's a good little parlay.
Yeah.
I would quite honestly, I would chuck the Dallas Cowboys plus 140 to win the NFC East into that, because I think that's another chalk. I mean, that's good odds for them.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, they should be minus 150 if you ask me to win the NFC East. Who's going to beat them to it? The fucking Eagles? I doubt it.
That's the hype bet is the Eagles so far. That's what everyone's looking at, the Eagles. They're thinking like that. Yeah, I'm not big on the Eagles either. I think how many years have we seen the Eagles be that team that everyone is high on, everyone's big on because of their free agent signings in the offseason, and it never comes to fruition. So I'm with you. I'm not big on the Eagles, so I'm with it. I'm with it.
Another one I like in the divisionals is NFC West. I know it's a weird one, but the Cardinals are plus 350. I wouldn't parlay it with anything because I think it'll sink your parlay, but I think a straight bet of Cardinals plus 350 to win that could happen.
Yeah.
Could happen. Yeah. Kyler Murray could have a fucking explosive season. They're a weird team. You don't know.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, especially when it comes to that him in a prove it year after getting that contract.
Yeah,
you know what I
exactly.
mean? So yeah, I like that a lot.
And another, like, if you want to just pump up any of your parlays too, another like definitely won't sink you situation is the Bills at minus 225 to win the AFC East. They're winning the AFC East.
So you think what is a minus 225 and a minus 275 get you? Does that get you to positive odds?
I don't know. I don't know how it works. I'm not a mathematician.
I think it'd be
I
close.
just punch it into the thing and it tells me how much money I'll get.
So I mean, I would even be comfortable parlaying the Bills and the Bucks together as a nice little guy, and then add on some kind of underdog in the end, maybe even the Cardinals, like you just said.
Yeah, or if you went Bills and Bucks with those negative odds, and like it's a dog line, but the Chiefs at plus 160. I know they're in a really tough division this year, but like they're probably gonna win it, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to put money on one of them, it would be them. Yeah.
So I mean, that's your little punt. That's your risk. Like for the Chiefs are going to win that plus 160. That's a good 3-man parlay right there on divisions. There's a lot you can do on these divisional bets, to be honest with you.
I like the divisional bets. I have fun with them because then too, like you got to think of it this way: is like so. Also, you have that cash out option, which is big for that. All the books have now, where the Bills are going to run away with their division, and the Bucks are going to run away with their division. In my opinion, you know what I mean. And then you have all these other underdog bets where if they do make a run, you cash that shit out.
Sure.
Too. You know what I mean? So it's good to have.
You can just play it smart as you go.
Right. Exactly.
What I'd stay away from, honestly, I know that they're probably gonna win the AFC South, but like the Colts rely on a running back and Jonathan Taylor who could just fucking go down week 4. I know it's like, all the fantasy managers like about to do their drafts are going like, shut the fuck up. I get it. I mean, I know it's not a nice thing to say, but anybody that relies that much offensively on a guy at the running back position, I can't. I personally can't. And at minus 140, it's not enough of a lock, so I would stay away from that. You could throw a little money into the AFC North though, because some weird shit can happen in there. All the odds are kind of floating around each other. The Steelers have the longest odds of plus 900. Why not? Fucking why not?
I mean, to me, I think they're way closer to the rest of that pack than what that's leading on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like if you think about
coach, you got to think about that.
If you get average quarterback play from the Steelers last year, listen, they were a playoff team with significantly below average quarterback play.
Definitely.
Like there's no beating around that bush. So if you get average quarterback play, I really think that they could be in there.
Sure,
absolutely. You want to jump over to MVP?
Yeah, that's where I just clicked. You read my mind. That's what I'm looking at right now. There's some interesting ones over here.
There is.
Dak at plus 1,300. I like. I mean, I know I've been high on the fucking Cowboys, but plus 1,300 is good for a guy like Dak. He could. There was a few weeks last season, and I keep fucking hammering this point home, and I know everybody's got this Cowboys thing, whatever. Maybe it's because I'm not a Pats fan. I don't know, but plus 1,300 for a guy that was the best quarterback in the league for 6 weeks last season. I'd say 6 weeks, right? Would you say that?
Yeah. First 6 to 7 weeks. Yeah,
a guy that went fucking into a shootout with Tom Brady in week 1, a guy that, if it's not for like a sort of a stuttering offensive scheme, and a kind of underachieving. Yeah, I know. I mean, I know that hasn't gone anywhere, but and a kind of jinxy Cowboys franchise as a whole. And like Jerry Jones probably having to like pay back his contract with Satan by losing in heartbreaking fashions all the time. I still like plus 1,300 as a number for that. I mean, between him and Joe Burrow plus 1,200, also good odds. I don't hate that. I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Burrow was the MVP next year. Would you? I think the craziest thing to me, if I was going to bet on any quarterback to have an MVP level season, where did he go? Where even is he?
Who, Lamar?
Oh, Justin Herbert at plus 900. I thought that was going to be higher. I really thought it was going to be higher, but I personally, I think Justin Herbert's going to be the MVP next year. That's my prediction. Plus 900. That's a perfectly acceptable rate on punt because I'm like pretty fucking sure he's the MVP next year. So
it's so crazy how much hype that, like, listen, I get it. He's my dynasty quarterback in my fantasy league. I drafted him when he was. I love Justin Herbert, but the hype train on him this year is wild. It's scary.
Yeah, but I think that like I mean, I'm the only one fucking saying it on our podcast. I just like that on the fucking record. But I think that when you look at, this is a guy who's a rookie of the year, right? When he came in, it's a guy who they've consistently built around at a really good rate. It's a guy who learned the system really well. And it's a guy who really is, if you watched him last season, poised to explode. There's a reason why people are saying he's going to have a breakout year and he's going to get into that. Look, we all know he's a top 10 quarterback. I won't argue with anyone who doesn't tell me Justin Herbert is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, because I don't think you know anything about the NFL if you tell me that. But is this the season where he can become a top 5 guy? I think almost certainly, if you look at his competition. Can he be the best player in the NFL next season? I don't know. I mean, I think it's always up for debate. I think the NFL MVP is a weird award, but because of the hype train that you're talking about, that's not going anywhere. And that's a big part of the reason you win that fucking award, a lot of the time. So if he's talked about from week 1 as the guy who's the front runner for the MVP, and he plays at the quarterback position, which is, let's be honest, easier to win that award from, why wouldn't he be the guy? Why would those odds are going to be at plus 250 by week 3? So I'm just telling you right now, if you want to make that bet, get it early at plus 900 right now, because I bet it was plus 1200 4 weeks ago.
Plus 900 is great. That's good numbers for that, for sure. I mean, you have him tied right now. I know the guy. Listen, we just talked about him. How I kind of feel like a spiritual connection to him now because of his love of hallucinogenics. But Aaron Rodgers at plus 900. I'm sorry, the dude's won 2. Isn't it 2 straight now?
Yeah, but his team is so much worse, though.
Yep, but doesn't that even speak to even more bounds that, like, if he elevates that team to the next level and they go, 11-6.
I don't know if he's the golden boy that he used to be. That he was a few years ago. Like the way that the NFL treated him. It was like 3 or 4 years ago. I think it was when Brady first went to Tampa. There was this really stupid conversation going around. The Skip Baylesses of the world, they're like, we got to fill 24 hours of sports talk, motherfuckers. We're going, yeah, but like on talent, like I think Aaron Rodgers is the GOAT. And like, I'm sorry, but that's just not the parameters of the conversation. You know what I mean? That's just not what we're weighing it up on. Because if he was the GOAT on talent, he'd have more than one half-cocked fucking Super Bowl that like he had to walk to. So, I mean, to compare it to the fucking kind of achievements that Tom Brady has done, it's all talking heads, fucking, breaking news bullshit. And I think that he's sort of disengendered himself to the NFL community as a whole last season. He says a lot of stupid shit. He's become kind of a glowing example of an anti-vax asshole. And I know a lot of the NFL like fan base is like probably in support of that, but that's an outlier, like that's an outlier of a reason to nominate a guy for MVP. If it's a popularity contest, he's not the prom king anymore. He just doesn't give off that vibe anymore. He used to give off like captain of the football team, fucking prom king. Like, let's make him Mr. fucking Massachusetts or whatever your award was at your high school. But he doesn't give that vibe off anymore. He gives the like, oh, that guy used
32-year-old wearing the varsity jacket still.
Yeah, he used to be cool in high school. Why is he hanging out with 21-year-olds, getting them high on gravity bong hits? He's giving those vibes now. I don't want you to go into that man's apartment. I don't like you hanging around with him. He's a bad influence. So I just don't see it in what is definitely a popularity contest. Now, Tom Brady, at plus 800, a little worse odds than Rodgers, a little worse, but like Tom Brady winning the MVP. I'll tell you how Tom Brady wins the MVP. Puts up MVP level numbers and around like week 10 goes like, just so everyone knows, this is the last one. He locks up MVP. That's it. It's over. I mean, I know he did the Michael Jordan, like, I'm coming back. But like, if he says like, definitely not after this, this is my last hurrah. I think that's it. I think MVP voting is done. I think the odds maker, the bookies close shop, and
they just shut down the odds. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So I like Lamar Jackson plus 2,000. What do you think of that?
Yeah, no, that was actually gonna be the next one I go to. It's like, listen, he's done it before. We've literally seen him win MVP before. We know the equation that it takes for Lamar Jackson to win MVP. The Ravens win the North, and he has 1,000 yards rushing and 3,000 yards passing. Like we've literally seen it before. So for him to be at 200 to 1 plus 2,000 to me is absurd. That he's below guys like Russell Wilson, who's literally never finished third in the MVP, below guys like Stafford, even my boy Dak Burrow, all these guys, man. It's insane to me that he's that low. I can't believe it. Like coming, last year, yeah, he was a little banged up, but if he's healthy, man, he's gonna be in the top 3 or 4 MVP conversation, right? Like if the Ravens are good, there's no doubt that Lamar Jackson's a top 5 MVP guy. So
Yeah,
it just
especially with the kinds of numbers he can put up, like he can do it. He can do it all in theory. I know people have their opinions about his arm, but I think there's games where he puts up absolute fucking fire. So I think his top ceiling, his top end is such that if he kind of gets to it on a consistent basis this year, he could be an early front runner, like we talked about, which is a lot of times the guy that wins in my memory, right? Like the guy that people kind of decide is going to be MVP by week 4 or 5 if he keeps it consistent, it usually is him, right? So also, it's the same kind of conversation in every sport, but is it the most valuable player to the NFL? Is it the most valuable player to your team? Is it the best player? Is it the best player like on paper? Is it the best player on the eye test? Lamar Jackson's a guy where if you plucked him out of Baltimore, we would be done talking about Baltimore. That would be the end of it. So I think that the kind of dynamism, I think there's other examples of that, don't get me wrong, but I think that the dynamism, the things that he brings to that team, and the things that he's super entertaining. When people shit on guys that are just like fun to watch, when it's like not your team and it's like you can just look at it neutrally, it's just like, why? He's fun. Like, who cares? Like him going to take a shit was fun. Like him fucking putting up numbers is fun. Him scrambling is fun. Him throwing interceptions is fun. I don't give a shit about the fucking Ravens. So, great. Fuck it. Let's just watch him. Let's just watch him do his thing. I think plus 2,000 is a good little bet. To be honest with you, I think he's got the skills.
I had Lamar last year. My fantasy team name was Going for 2.
Right? It was a little weird. That whole situation, and he's kind of a weird guy. And I can't really get a read on him, but plus he's fucking talented. He's fucking talented. He's athletic. He's getting better. And he's put up a lot of like this is the fucking year kind of like workout videos and shit. So like if you're one to believe those, put your money on that 2,000 plus 2,000 fucking long shot.
The Ben Simmons videos.
Not the same as that.
It's funny to me. So if you look down, right, you have the first non-quarterback on this list is Derrick Henry at 400 to 1, which completely get it. I understand why he's there. But if you look right above that, man, it's crazy to me that you have a guy, Trey Lance, who has played 30 snaps in his NFL career, ahead of Mac Jones, ahead of Kirk Cousins, ahead of Tua, ahead of your boy Mitchell Trubisky, ahead of a former MVP.
That's not a bad little punt either, by the way, on Mitch. Why not?
Plus 600 to 1. Why not? Exactly. It's just it's crazy to me that first of all you have 2 running backs ahead of those quarterbacks, a wide receiver ahead of those guys I just listed, and a quarterback who's taking like 30 snaps. So if you're looking for someone that you want to toss like $2 on just for shits and giggles, I really think if you look at that Cousins to Matt Ryan list there, so Cousins, Mac Jones, Tua is just toss Tua, actually not Tua, Mitchell Trubisky and Matt Ryan. I think that those are names that if you're looking at $2-3 to have a long shot, I think you're still going to be at least with 3 of those guys, you have a chance to still be in the conversation come week 10, right?
Yeah.
Especially Matt Ryan plus 8,000, man. I feel like that's something to look at. I don't know. I feel like the offense might go to Jonathan Taylor a lot of the times, but I mean, if the Colts are 10-1 come week 11, who the hell knows, man? You know?
I mean, again, you know how I feel about betting on teams that rely on that kind of offense, but I don't mind those numbers. So I see your point.
I said this in the chat earlier. I think it's funny that this website got so in depth here that they're listing JJ Watt at plus 200. I don't even know how to say that. 25,000 to 1.
Yeah.
2,500 to 1.
Put $1 on that.
I'm in Ross St. Brown at 3,500 to 1.
Like, yeah, like Cordell Patterson's in there somewhere, like 15,000 to 1 or whatever.
It's amazing.
Whatever. I mean, if crazier things have happened.
I mean,
rookie of the year?
Yeah, rookie of the year. We might as well. Well, actually, you know what? Before we do that, I kind of want to go to DPOI. I don't even know if it's listed on here, but specifically because I want to talk about fucking Micah Parsons.
And I think it's going to be Micah Parsons.
I think he's winning this award this year, man.
Yeah, I think it's a lot.
The only guy I think is going to compete with him is Aaron Donald, but like the Cowboys set up their defense this year that they're going to let Micah roam. They're going to let him do whatever the hell he wants.
Do a little Troy Polamalu impression.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be unreal this year, and the Cowboys are going to have that number one defense, like we said, and I think Micah's going to be the reason. So I don't even know if we have to go too in depth with it. If you agree with that, then everyone out there, I don't know what the odds are on it, but put your money on Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I mean, unless he goes down, then it's probably going to be Aaron Donald's, but or it opens up. I think it opens up the floor if he gets hurt. But yeah, I can't really think of anybody that would. I guess like TJ Watt, might be in the conversation. Like, is Von Miller still in the conversation? Like that like you might get some odds on that, but no, I mean, just sitting and looking at it, I think it's Micah for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to look it up, but screw it. We're going with Micah. So offensive rookie of the year, we'll jump over that. Kenny Pickett leading the way, man.
Yeah.
I that kind of goes against your Mitch Assance, which, by the way, I love how you love your Assances this year. I've heard you give like 3. But,
I'm an Assance man.
Kenny Pickett, number 1. I'm not surprised by that. Obviously, they're thinking Mitch loses the job in the first few weeks, and Pickett has that season that we were talking about where he stays average, he does what he's supposed to do, and in a less than overwhelming rookie class, he takes it as the quarterback. But the name I want everyone to look at here, there's 2. So all the way down at where the hell is he? Jalen Tolbert for the Cowboys. I know this has been a very Cowboys betting heavy show, but plus 250 was plus 2,500 to 1. It is crazy to me for a guy that could be the number 2 wide receiver in one of the more high-powered passing offenses in the league. It's pretty guaranteed that he's at least the number 2 wide receiver the first 4 weeks of the season. So for him to be that low is crazy to me. I'm all about Jalen Tolbert this year. Other than that, I like Breece Hall for the Jets, plus 900. He's a bell cow. So if he averages 4 to 4.2 yards a carry, we're looking at a Najee Harris season from last year. Yeah, and I think that wins him the award this year. So those are my guys I'm looking at.
Yeah, I like the Garrett Wilson call. George Pickens, not a bad call. Any wide receiver you like odds on. I think they have a better chance of winning Rookie of the Year than a lot of offensive Rookie of the Year than a lot of other guys. They're the long
they stick out so much more.
Yeah, they just do. I mean, and also like if you can make a case for Rookie of the Year with a terrible quarterback, from the wide receiver position, I think that oftentimes boosts your chances. But no, I like all those calls. I think Kenny Pickett at plus 700 is a risk because he's not the starter. So if you're betting on that now, I don't love it. Yeah, Breece Hall, decent bet. I think you're probably right, to be honest with you. I think we talked about stayaways a little bit earlier. I feel like the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year is kind of up in the air here. I think there's a lot of guys with sort of equal chances to win it. And we kind of Rookie of the Year betting is actually kind of tough too, because they're sort of unknown quantities. It's like you can have guys just bust so fucking hard, especially on the offensive side of the ball, especially if they go to places that are irrelevant, that they just don't get looked at. I think defense, I only have one, if you don't mind moving on. I only have one call out for defensive Rookie of the Year just because I like the odds. I mean, it probably is going to be Aiden Hutchinson. He is a fucking beast.
So good.
I think there's a reason his odds are so much lower than everybody else's. I think he's fun to watch. He's going to be really good. He's probably going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. But Kayvon Thibodeau, I think at plus 900, I think he's woefully underrated at that position. I know he's going to the Giants, but he's an edge rusher. He could put up numbers in New York if he's sort of allowed to do what he needs to do. He's super confident. He's like one of these guys. He's like, I am the best rookie this season. Like, fuck that, which I kind of like, especially for my edge rushers, especially for my guys with attitude, especially in a place where they're trying to build culture again. And he's sort of been limited in the preseason, so he hasn't really been seen much. He's sort of still an unknown quantity, but I think that if you look back on what he actually has accomplished throughout his amateur career and his semi-professional career, I think he's got a great name. He's got a great football name. And I think that, at plus 900, that's a great bet. I I thought he was going to be closer to Hutchinson, to be honest with you. I thought he'd be, a couple hundred away from him, but at plus 900, those are great odds. Really, really great odds. I think that there's a really good chance he wins it. I think, Hutchinson probably was the best defensive player to come out of that draft class, but for guys that are instantly pro ready, these are all the qualities that Thibodeau has that I know. When you look at the Minkah Fitzpatricks of the world, and when guys like that came into the league, they had a lot of the same qualities. So I think it's a smart little bet. I'd put 40, $50 on it, no problem.
One guy I want to shout out, Jordan Davis. I don't know if you saw the viral video that he had going around where he was pushing around NFL centers like they're like 14-year-old boys. I like Jordan Davis a lot. And Rayshawn would have a heart attack if we didn't at least mention Kyle Hamilton. Dude's been talking about Kyle Hamilton all offseason.
He's got the same odds as Thibodeau, though, and I like Thibodeau better.
Yeah, for sure. I like Thibodeau better because he's the edge rusher. You know what I mean? I feel like that's always what stands out with rookies is those guys that sack the quarterback that make those plays. Because listen, Kyle Hamilton can have a great season, but he's not going to stand out as much as someone who has 13, 14 sacks versus like two or three interceptions. So I'm with you on that for sure.
By the way, if anyone's yelling at their radios or earbuds or whatever right now, the fact that we haven't mentioned Trayvon Walker, he fell off for me in the preseason. I feel like something's up with him. I know that he being the first overall, or being the first pick is kind of a death sentence to me, especially when you go to a team like Jacksonville and you have a weird preseason and like a lot of strange things happen. I mean, I think he got a sack in the preseason. But I don't know. I know he's a rookie, I know it's expected to be up and down. They're playing him in different schemes and stuff, but he just didn't look the part to me. So, I mean, I could be wrong. I'm happy to be wrong about him, but he's in Jacksonville again. So I don't know what that defense is really, what their identity is or what they really look like. So if anyone's wondering why we didn't shout him out, he's at plus 650. It's not a terrible bet, but it's not enough for me to see with what I've seen, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. He was a questionable first pick overall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I'm with you on that. What are you saying? Move over to Coach of the Year?
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I don't know where to even start with this, to be perfectly honest, because if you're asking me that, I don't know how, so like Brandon Staley's great. I guess the way that Vegas is looking at it is if the Chargers are good, it's because they fixed all their mistakes that they always make at the end of games, and they fix all these different things. So Staley's going to get that credit, especially from where they came from 2-3 years ago, and what they would have to do to get to that, to get to that point. That's how I'm looking at it. The one that shocks me, man, is Brian Dabble at plus 1,600. Like, do the Giants really have any kind of shot to have a good team this year? You know what I mean? Like,
I think they're a little bit better than people think. I don't think they're like amazing, but I don't know if that's such a bad call considering the kind of guy that gets Coach of the Year a lot. It's always the kind of like, oh, your shitty team was slightly less shitty than they should have been kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Or it's Bill Belichick, or, you know what I mean? It's like, or it's somebody that like, really fucking turned it around and like had, took a really bad team to be a really good team. But I think the Giants, like I was just talking about Thibodeau, I think he's a really good edge rusher. I think they drafted really well. I think that they have I think that they're going in the right direction. What? You don't think so?
No. I looked up the last 5 coaches of the year, and I'm sorry, what made me actually LOL. That's the noise everyone makes when they LOL. Is 4 years ago, you know who won Coach of the Year?
Who?
Matt Nagy.
Yeah, I bet he fucking did.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh in the middle of the year.
Yeah. No, I mean, I remember, he was hot shit. That's what I mean, though. You know what I mean? That's what I mean.
That it proves your point exactly. Yeah. So last 4, just for our knowledge: Vrabel, Stefanski, Harbaugh, and Nagy. So exactly what you were saying, except for the Harbaugh one where they went 14-2. But again, I think that was just more unexpected. Yeah. I would look at it like a John Harbaugh. If you're looking for bets here,
sure.
John Harbaugh at plus 2,500 is a good one because
where's Doug Peterson?
Peterson's plus 18.
I mean, he's on his redemption tour. There'll be eyes on him. I think he'll get more credit than he deserves if he gets 7-8 wins out of that Jacksonville team. So you could see it. You could see it happening. What about Tomlin?
Tomlin he's low. 2,800.
So Mike Tomlin at 2,800 with it, everybody coming into the season saying the Steelers are going to be trash. And he's never posted an under 500 season, And he also took in Brian Flores and put him on the coaching staff and did a nice thing there. And he's kind of a pretty well-liked coach. And I don't know if he's ever won it. Has he ever won it?
I don't think he has, no.
I mean, plus 2,800 Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't hate it.
I mean,
again, I think they're going to be better than the odds are giving him credit for. So,
has he won it? Let's see.
I feel like
never won.
No, never one time.
Yeah,
he's due. He's due. Put your 2,800 on 2,800. Let's go, Mike Tomlin.
I like it. Actually, you know what? I think that's what just happened. I think that's there we go. Sorry. I think that's my favorite coach of the year bet. I'm with you. I like Tomlin at coach of the year at 2,800. The only other one I want to point out is just because, listen, the dude's the GOAT of coaching for a reason. Do you think Belichick has plus 2,200?
If Bill Belichick gets double-digit wins with the New England Patriots this year, it's one of the most impressive seasons of coaching he's actually had in regular season play with the NFL in the NFL, because that Patriots team's fucking terrible. So if he gets double-digit wins, if he wins 11, 12 games, great candidate for coach of the year. Great fucking, because the narrative could emerge. The narrative could emerge around week 6 of they are overachieving, and it's thanks to that man, right? You can just hear Chris Collinsworth, and it's just thanks to that man right there, Bill Belichick. He still got it, and he lost his quarterback, Tom Brady, blah blah blah. You can just hear it. You can hear it. The narrative fucking starts, and it starts to go, and they win a big Sunday night game or whatever, and it's just maybe, and obviously they're not going to do it, but. All those guys who bet on them to win the AFC at plus 2,200 didn't listen to us. They're fucking sitting pretty. It could happen. It could happen. But this is the wrong show if you're here for let's fucking celebrate Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. We're the wrong motherfuckers.
At least with us too. At least with us.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, Bill Belichick is the best coach in the NFL. He suffers from LeBron-itis a little bit. There's about 11 years where LeBron should have been the MVP in the NBA every single season, but people just got kind of bored of it, so they didn't make the MVP every single season, but he was. So he is still the best coach in the NFL. He is still the best, the most talented, the most successful. But you can't just give it to that guy every year, I guess. Makes the award a little redundant. So is he still the best coach? Yes. Is he going to win coach of the year? I mean, the odds don't think so, but that's why we play the game.
There. All right. So you know what? We didn't even talk about this at the top. Let's circle it all back. We'll close it out with our favorite Super Bowl bets of the year. So I'm gonna go.
Like this. Yeah.
I'm gonna go. Listen, I wouldn't be myself if I didn't at least mention the Cowboys at plus 2,000 to win the Super Bowl. I'm sorry but if you're telling me a team that has the most upside around this area, right? So the other one I'm going to talk about is another team we already talked about too. So the Cowboys are at plus 2,000 and the Bengals are right around plus 2,000. I love those two, man, because if you're talking about, you have a team that's on, like you said, this is ride or die. If it doesn't happen this year for the Cowboys, first of all, McCarthy's probably gone. Questions about Dak, Zeke's probably gone. This is the year for the boys. So I do think at plus 2,000, you're getting great value with a team that has all the incentive.
Yeah.
Right. All the incentive to win a Super Bowl. And then the Bengals, man, listen, I know the Super Bowl hangover is a real thing.
It is.
But if you're telling me plus 2,000 on a team that we just saw can run the table at any time. Joe Burrow can get hot. Jamar Chase can get hot.
If anyone can drag their team out of a Super Bowl hangover or prevent their team from being in a Super Bowl hangover, it's Joe Burrow. I think he's got the best mentality of quarterback.
Dude got sacked 7 times in a playoff game and won.
Look, I just think if they had any semblance of an offensive line, they win that game. And I think that they're a really talented team. I think he's a really good quarterback. I fucking like him. I like watching him. I like his whole attitude. I like his swagger. If anyone can prevent a Super Bowl hangover, and in a circumstance where you can really point to one thing, not like the failure of the team or the failure of the mentality, just the failure of the fucking offensive line, you can really just point to that, and they still had a shot. Before and after Fat 50 Cent came on the scene, I think it's a really good bet. Yeah, I agree. I also like the Chargers at 1,400. By the way, I'll say that one more time. Chargers at plus 1,400, not a bad Super Bowl bet.
Yeah. And listen, we're not sitting here. I'm not sitting here telling you that we think that these teams are better than the Bills or better than the Bucks or the Chiefs.
Right.
Well,
Game.
right. Exactly. We're not saying here that, the plus 2,000 is a better, we think is more likely to happen than the Bills at plus 600. Because listen, we all know the Bills are more likely to win the Super Bowl than the goddamn Cowboys. That's just a fact.
Sure.
But if you're telling me to toss $5 down on something, it's going to be the Cowboys, Bengals, or like you said, the Chargers. I think those are 3 really smart Super Bowl bets that I think you'll at least be in play come that last weekend of the Super Bowl or last weekend of the season.
Yeah, and I don't think we've advised you to take put your hard-earned money on anything that's definitely not going to happen. Like these plus 35,000s, like there's a reason that those odds are those odds. Like it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. It would be the craziest thing that ever happened if it did. And before we go, I just do want to say one thing. I know this is a gambling themed show. Just like things we're in high support of, drugs and alcohol, I think you should do all those things in moderation. If you think you have a problem, you should definitely talk to somebody. Gambling's for fun. It's not for life. It's not to make money. Don't gamble more than you can afford, and don't lose more than you want to tell your wife about.
That's a great way to cap it off, man. So for DK Sizzle, I'm the real BK Bob Kelly. Bet responsibly, bet big if you want. Is it missing the point? We're out.